So I can't believe this is real. So I'm just going to play it for you.
To the guy who wrote the book on how democracies die and erode, Ben Rhodes, I mistakenly chalked a lot of it, what the Republicans have done, up to reflexive fealty to Trump, fear of the tweet. There's something somewhere more strategic than that, because this is the pathway to ending democracy. And as someone who's sort of been shouting from the rooftops for many years now, I wonder what you make of this new reporting in the New York Times.
Well, I think it's entirely consistent with what we've seen happening around the world. And I think what's clear to me is that the Trump people are not only learning from his first term, where he didn't kind of put in place his most virulent autocratic henchman until the end of the administration, but they've studied the playbook in other places. And if you look at what's been done in places like, say, Hungary, where Viktor Orban's been a model for the American right in a lot of ways, he eviscerated the independence of government. Everybody reported to him and served his agenda. That allowed for him to exert a tremendous amount of control over every aspect of Hungarian political life. That allowed for a tremendous amount of corruption, where he was enriching cronies who were then kind of financing his politics and making sure that...
That sounds more like the Biden family to me. I think that Victor took his cue from the Bidens. What do you think?
No opposition emerged to him, and he was weaponizing the tools of the state to go after critics of him and his party. So whether they're in civil society or whether they're journalists, and that's exactly what's happening here. This is all in plain sight. And this is a playbook that has been used in many other countries. We Americans like to think that these things don't happen here. What we saw on January 6th is anything can happen here.
Wow.
And if he has the sanction and the validation of an election, there is absolutely no reason to think that he won't do these things here. And we've also seen Republicans use state legislatures as laboratories to test these things out and to give governors greater executive power or to take power away from Democratic governors. This is something that they've been working towards for years now. This is what the 2024 election is all about. Is this the kind of single party autocracy that we want to risk having under a Donald Trump, or do we still believe in checks and balances in the American?
And let me do something, again, I try not to do very often unless totally necessary. Let me play you what Trump is running on doing, in his own words, from podiums, with cameras in the back, out loud and proud.
We are a failing nation. We are a nation in decline, and now these radical left lunatics want to interfere with our elections by using law enforcement. It's totally corrupt, and we won't let it happen. 2024 is our final battle. With you at my side, we will demolish the deep state. We will expel the warmongers from our government. We will drive out the globalists. We will cast out the communists, Marxists, fascists. We will throw off the sick political class that hates our country, and we will rout the fake news media. We will defeat crooked Joe Biden, and we will drain the swamp once and for all.
So, Ben Rhodes, I stopped being a Republican for a lot of reasons. But I worked Republican administration, as you know what that's like. You forge real friendships in the trenches. They're the people at your wedding. They're the people there when you face a tragedy. But the reason I stopped being a Republican, first and foremost, is because people I love dearly say and do nothing when that happens. That is not even someone flirting with autocracy. That is someone deep in the tank of delusions and propaganda. And I searched high and low. I didn't find anyone, any elected Republicans in the House or the Senate, rebuke those comments. And, you know, we'll see. Chris Christie is running against him.
We want it.
Bill Barr came out and made a star turn as a witness for the January 6th House Select Committee. But I've looked everywhere today, and I haven't found anyone rebuking what are not just lies, but dangerous lies that, as Katie just said, I mean, as a journalist, you have to stay open to the possibility that this will come to pass and this plan will be put into action if he's reelected. it will be the fault of, and
you were
sort
a
of the blood
journalist.
of our dead democracy will be on the hands of elected Republicans who said and did nothing.
Yeah, Nicole, there's something really chilling here. Two things I'd highlight. One, that's just straight up strongman, autocratic, us versus them, fascistic rhetoric, right? I mean, that you could put those words in the mouths of any number of autocrats from the 20th century or Vladimir Putin today. The dehumanization of his opponents and the intention of using government to punish his opponents, that's one big flashing light. The other is he's tied up his own personal fate with this election, right? It's all or nothing. This election may be the thing necessary to keep him out of prison, right? So this is existential for Trump, and he's making no effort to hide his fundamentally autocratic intentions. And the other thing that you see in any system of government that shifts from a democracy to an autocracy is at some point along the way, there have to be enablers. There have
That's scary. They're actually saying this stuff. That's a real news report. Those are real fake reporters. Better get out and vote.